Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from De Bruyne Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Good morning, everyone. It is the most lovely day outside. The wind isn't too bad. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. I don't know what more we could ask for a winter day. I mean, it is not spring yet. So I am just thrilled we could get outside and maybe do some of those fall or winter things that we really need to get done, like trim our bushes and our trees. I can't imagine a better day for it than today. When I get home, I've got a couple of them that I still have to trim. This might be a good weekend to do it. It's going to be even warmer tomorrow. This is just lovely. Thank you, God. I just can't. We needed, all that sunshine in February. What a gift. We're getting really, really spoiled here. But again, it is not spring yet. The soil temperature, I checked it this morning. It is 38 degrees. So yes, it is way, way too cold to plant anything. So let's not do that. I know a lot of people coming into De Bruyne's want to plant grass seed right now. We're selling a lot of grass seed. I would honestly wait for a little bit. I know you can put grass seed down. It lies dormant until the until the soil gets to the right temperature. But the problem is we have like the freak storm the other day, or, even just any kind of rainstorm. Where you put it, it's not going to stay there. It's just going to kind of follow the water down, and also wind will take it away. Usually not birds. They don't really care for grass seed that much, but honestly, just the weather will kind of move it to where you don't want it. So it might be better to wait just a couple of weeks until the soil, it'll probably be into April before the soil is actually warm enough for it to germinate. So, just wait. I know we got a beautiful day. I want to do everything right now so I don't have to do anything later. And it's usually not a good idea to do something like that. But okay. I know we've got people that are just dying out there to put in potatoes and onions. They will rot in the ground right now before they come up. So don't even think about that. If you've got a greenhouse and you want to start something, that's one thing. Or if you want to start something indoors, that's fine. But the rest of the stuff, no, it is too early for that. I'm going to talk about, we've got Greenview Night coming up at De Bruyne Seed Store. That is the 7th, so it's next Thursday night. It's at 6 p.m. You'll be learning all about the great Greenview and preen products that are out there. Ken De Bruyne and Pam Ford from the VG Supply will be here to tell you all about the programs as well as any new products that are coming. And I know there's a grand door prize of a leaf blower and a string trimmer, but there's always other things going on. I make sure there's refreshments. I'm going to do some sub sandwiches and chips and drinks, and so that'll be fun. And it's always a fun evening. So you can register at De Bruyne's. It's recommended, but it is not. You don't have to register, but it would be nice. Just call me up, De Bruyne's, when I'm there, 616-772-2316. And I'll be glad to sign you up for the Greenview event on Thursday, March 7th at 6 p.m. Have your light dinner of some subs and chips and drinks, and listen to them talk about it. There's always lots of door prizes along with the grand door prize, so come on out. We've got Scott's Night coming up. That's going to be on Tuesday, March 19 at 6 o'clock, and that Jeff Shepard from the Scott's Corp will be there to talk about Scott's, but that's not for a little bit. But Greenview Night is this Thursday at 6 p.m., so that's kind of fun. Also on Thursday, and this is at 7 p.m., I believe. Yes, at 7 p.m., is at First Reformed Church, the Holland Garden Club, is going to have a presentation of growing vegetables without feeling overwhelmed, and it's by Shannon Schultes. So Schultes, whatever, something like that, Shannon, and she is a garden coach. I've never heard of that, but it sounds kind of interesting. She has a huge amount of raised beds in her yard. She's going to talk about that also. So that is, again, March 7 at 7 p.m. at First Reformed Church in Holland on State Street, kind of right across the street from First Presbyterian there. So that should be fun. Also, they're going to have light refreshments, and it's free. You can come on in if you want to learn about growing vegetables without feeling overwhelmed. I think that's might be kind of an interesting thing to do. And the last Coffee with the Birds will be coming up on March 16th. So that's coming up. Again, not this weekend or next weekend after that, I think. Whatever. But hey, birdseed at Brian's, we are still selling a ton of that every day. Ken has Mr. B's fruit and nut on sale right now, as well as the Finch mix, which I love. My birds love that stuff. And also the peanut rejects and sunflower chips remain on sale. This is a fun time to put out the fruit and nut mixture. If you've never done that before, we've got some of the spring migrants back, like the bluebirds are back. The robins seem to be back by my house. I've got all of a sudden, a lot of mourning doves. I've got, I've got crows now, and I've also got starlings. They're back, as well as some cedar waxwings I've got, and some red-winged blackbirds. I've seen them all in my backyard in this past week. So they're all coming back. So right on time. They usually come in March. Might be a little later in March that they come in, but they're here. So if you've got a bluebird house that you left up all winter for the little birds to crowd in during the night, take that down, please, right now, and clean it out really well. Birds do have mites and things like that. We don't need to transfer that to a new batch of little birds. So clean it out. They will make a new nest. They don't like to use last year's nest anyway. So clean out the bird houses and then put them back up. And you should see some bluebirds coming around because the males are here right now looking for some places. The males actually make the nests in the bluebirds. They make two nests. So they'll make one like in your bluebird house and then maybe one up in the trees. But and then they get to show the female both nests, and she's the one that picks which nest they use. So that's a good reason to keep that bluebird house nice and clean right now. And she will probably like a nice clean house. So let's get out there and clean those things out this week. And we've got a beautiful week. You can't complain. I think we've got some rain on tap. I think you said Tuesday and maybe Saturday. So we've got a whole week of nice weather that you can get out. There's no excuse for not getting out there and getting those bird houses nice and clean for the bluebirds. We've got a new point of sale system at DeBrine's, and my goodness, it can tell you anything. It prints out reports at the end of the day. You can have them print out all kinds of reports. Every last thing you sold during the day. It's incredible of what that can spit back out at you. But it's kind of fun to go through the week and find out, where the different categories, what's the biggest category. And right now, birdseed right now is 50% of the sales at DeBrine's by far. But neck and neck for second place is fertilizers and field seeds. So there's a lot of people out there getting their field seeds to frost seed their fields with some clover. And there's a lot of people coming in to buy some fertilizer. It is too early to put fertilizer down, but it's always nice to have it. You never know when the price will go up. Fertilizer prices change. We get new price lists every week of changes in fertilizer. So, if you need it, it's always good to get it now. We've also got 4-step lawn care programs, and both the Scotts and the Greenview have instant rebates on them this year. No need to mail them in, no need to do anything. You can get them right at the cash register. So we do all the work here. You don't have to do it. So that's it. So it's bird seed, fertilizer, field seed, and right after that is seed packets. Now, our seed packets are generally 85 cents a piece. So for that to be the fourth highest thing in sales, we're selling an awful lot of seed packets. I was absolutely amazed at the amount of seed we've gone through in the past week. So that's kind of cool. And right behind that is indoor planting stations, things like, trays and peat pots and lamps and the ones that are all ready to go, like the germination station. Those fall right behind the seeds for what's going on at DeBrine. So it's kind of fun to look at that and see what we're selling. But it seems like every time they call me to go downstairs and ring somebody up, they've always got 500 seed packets. And yeah, I get to ring those up. It's kind of nice. I spent, I don't know how many weeks sitting there putting barcodes on everything. So the barcodes are there so we can scan a lot of the stuff. So, but some of the things we got in before we got the scanner thing. So those don't have it, but we do have it on a lot of stuff already. So yes, all of those barcodes that I bothered to put on all of those seed packets, they're there. They're just waiting for you to come on in and get them. What a lot of work. But I think we're like 90% through that computer program. I am so happy. This was supposed to start. When did it start? I think it started September 1 or maybe August 1. It's been a long time, but it took me a long time to enter barcodes. I will tell you that. That was not the easiest thing. I am not the biggest, savvy computer person in the world. So, yes, for me to get all that done, it was kind of nice. Just sit there and repetition. Wow, it was incredible. But anyway, the National Bird Count, the Great Backyard Bird Count, which was President's Day weekend. They have got a couple of reports in. There have been 7,842 different species of birds identified from around the world this year. And that's over 200 more species than last year, which I find absolutely amazing. How do you find 200 more species of birds? But they did. And there's also there was like a 20% increase in the amount of checklists that have come in. You've got, you had until March 1. It's March 2 today. So hopefully if you did it, you got your checklists in so they can compile all of the statistics. This does help the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the Audubon Company, Audubon Association, and Birds Canada all they get together and they use all of this information it's kind of a snapshot of a weekend of where birds are in their migration and where they are. So whether they're in big numbers or small numbers, it really does help them a lot. So thank you if you participated, and you can go on birdcount.org and you can see some of the results from that weekend. We'd have to take a break here, but we will be right back with the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show right after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
We're back. Lovely day. Phone lines are open. 616-395-1450. My goodness, Jan. 616-395-1450. My sister told me that when you can't remember a word or something, what you have to say is, I don't remember how to say that in English. And it sounds like, hey, it isn't like you forgot the word. You just didn't know how to say it in English. So I've been doing that recently, and the guys at work don't buy it, but I'm thinking it's kind of a neat. I'm sorry, but I just don't remember how to say that in English. Yes, my Dutch is so prolific that I can do that. But yes, so it's just a hint, folks. If you want to, if you forget about something, you can't get one of those words. That's what you do. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that in English. And sometimes that will give you enough time that you remember it. So, yes, okay. So what we're talking about is getting some seeds started indoors. It is so much fun to start something indoors, and it doesn't have to be a whole it doesn't have to be a bunch of tomatoes or peppers if you're a little unsure of how to do that. You know what? An herb garden started indoors is really fun, really an easy thing to do. I talked to a friend of mine. She's starting some fennel indoors, and it's just coming up, and it smells like fennel already. How fun is that? To put some fennel in your garden, come a little bit, when the soil warms up, that would be so much fun. I've always got herbs on my kitchen counter that are going. I've always got thyme going. I've usually got parsley. Cilantro always goes bad on me, so I've learned not to bother with that one. There are just certain things that don't do well for me. I usually start rosemary to make sure I've got it for the summer, but always great fun to start that. And we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Hello. I guess we lost him. Oh well. Give a call back. We do have, he's here. He's ready to take your call here. So 616-395-1450 is the number to call. But don't use just plain old potting soil when you're starting seeds. They need a lighter weight soil when they're first starting out. They've got to get their little roots through there. So and it's really a soilless mixture. And we do have seed starting soil. It's already ready for you to use it and just put it in your pots or whatever. Or you can use a Jiffy 7 that's just got its own dirt in there. But you can make your own. And I know Martha Stewart was always big on making your own seed starting mixture. And, the way you can do it is if you've got some compost, do 4 parts compost, 2 parts sphagnum peat moss, 1 part vermiculite, and 1 part perlite. And mix that all up, and you've got a good seed starting soil. So don't use regular potting soil when you're doing your seeds indoors. It's not a good thing. So you can start. And you're like, what can we start indoors? Again, herbs we can start. We can start tomatoes and peppers. Tomatoes, everyone's buying tomato seeds right now. So there's a lot of people putting in tomatoes right now. So you would be just one of them. Remember, tomatoes are something that you start out in a smaller, probably peat pot or whatever, and you're going to have to transplant it into a larger pot, and then it will go outdoors. So it's going to have to be transferred at least once when it's indoors, maybe even twice, kind of depending on how fast it grows. So get out there and get those tomatoes started. We do have, and it's like, do I really need a grow lamp? What should I use? They're going to start better. Well, I'll tell you, just to put the seed in the ground, it's kind of nice to have a heat mat where it's got gentle heat coming up from above. They'll germinate quicker when the soil is warm. So putting that heat mat under your flats or whatever will help get things up and out of the ground quicker. But once they're up and out of the ground, the first 2 leaves that come out, what they really don't look like the leaves of the plant, what it should be, those are the cotyledons, and that's part of the embryo of the plant. So it's really not true leaves. It's part of the whole thing. And then after that, the first true leaves are the ones that form after what you see when it first comes up. So that's when you transplant the first one after. You're like tomatoes. You got to wait until there's some real leaves on it, not the first two. That's that's not a that's just a little teeny tiny baby plant. So don't be transplanting them when just the first two leaves or the cotyledons are down there. They aren't true leaves. They need to have true leaves on them before we transplant them. Um, but yes, you can use those at. I know some people use those first cotyledons, like on the brassicas, etc., as microgreens. It's kind of fun to do that. You can plant a whole um, a flat. You can put, a bunch of of like brassicas, like broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and kale, and grow them till they're about 2 inches tall, and then cut them off and eat them. Make sure you don't eat the dirt. That's not what we want, but just eating the top. And then you can kind of, if you've got them marked, which is always a good thing, you'll be able to. There's a difference between the broccoli microgreens and the kale, and the cabbage kind of have a real peppery flavor to them. I kind of like those. And you can, I don't know, whatever you use microgreens for, top a salad with it or put it on a sandwich or whatever, but they are fun to do. You can do greens indoors right now. You can do mustard greens or collard greens or kale or whatever you want. Just keep picking it off. I've got my lettuce is finally done. I've had that for about 2 months. That was a fun thing to do. I had more salads out of my tiny little arrow garden, and the cat got plenty of catnip out of there. So that was pretty fun. I was constantly eating lettuce. And I think there's a little bit of lettuce left in the refrigerator from my garden, but fun thing to do. It's always fun to get something that you can eat, from your kitchen counter, and really a light over the top of it would be the best thing. I was watching a show last week from the new I can't remember, garden show, Garden Journal or something like that, and it's from South Carolina or North Carolina, so it's really not. They were talking about planting their potatoes this week. Well, it's way too early for us to do that, but they were talking about that, and they were talking about growing things indoors with a grow light. And oh my goodness, she had so many things. Well, you can figure out how much light is there by figuring this and multiplying this by this by this, and oh my gosh, put a light over your stuff, and then whatever light was best. They seem to like that pink light best, but you know what? Just a grow light is fine. If we've got different grow lights. We've got some that look like little fluorescent tubes that go over it, or we've got some that are just a bulb that go over it. Just a light. It needs light. It needs more light than what we've got outside right now. Our days are still pretty short compared to what they're going to be. So, adding that extra light always helps them get germinating quicker. So that would be the wonderful thing to do. So the heat mats only until once they come up out of the ground, the heat mats really aren't needed anymore. They don't need it, but they do need the light above them until until we get into maybe May. So that the heat light lamps above it are good. When I do my herbs in my kitchen, I hate to say this, but I've got LED lights underneath my cabinet. I put my herb plants right underneath the cabinet, and I turn on my my under cabinet lighting and until I go to bed, and then I turn it off so they get a couple extra hours of light during the day. They seem to work well. My herbs work well with that. So, it's just kind of hit and miss of what's going to work well. You got to keep trying. That's what I'm going to say. Our house plants right now, I took a look at mine, and normally you don't transplant them in the winter, because they're basically dormant. I'm desperate need of a couple of them to be transplanted. I've got to do that, and maybe this week would be the time to do that. So I think I'm going to do transplant a couple of them. Transplanting them, you can use regular potting soil for this, or there's there's all these special garden seed, garden raised beds, blah blah blah. I just use plain old potting soil. You can use the potting soil that's got the moisture control on it if you'd like. Either one works fine to plant. You don't have to use a seed starting soil for your house plants when you're redoing those. And spring is a great time to up pot it if you think the pot's too small, it's outgrown that, and get a new pot, put it in there. That would be the best. I, I've got one that's just growing way too tall, and it's in this little teeny tiny pot. I'm kind of scared. I'm going to have to break the pot to get it out of there. I think its roots have got to be pretty much taking over, so that's not going to be fun. Okay, we have got the news coming up, so I need to stop talking. And Hayden's got to get to work here, and I will be back after the news.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from De Bruyne Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
All right, we are back. Phone lines are open, 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. This is a great time of year to go check your hemlock trees for the hemlock woolly adelgid. I know that sounds kind of odd, but this is the time you can look up and you'll see them. And what they look like is like little tiny cotton balls where the green part meets the twig, and then where it meets the tree, you'll see some. You'll just see, and it usually starts in the middle of the tree. It doesn't, because it's carried by birds usually. So you'll see it in the middle of the tree first. They can kill your hemlock tree quite quickly. So this isn't something to laugh about. It is something that's easy to take care of. The BioAdvanced tree and shrub does a great job on this. What you need to do is you figure out the diameter of the tree or the circumference of the tree, and for every inch of circumference, you put an ounce of this stuff in a bucket of water. I don't care how much water you put in, a couple of gallons, whatever. And what you do is you clear out right as the tree meets the ground. You want to pull back any mulch that's there, and you pour it right against the tree all the way around. And what happens is those little tiny feeder roots that are right there, they pick it up really quickly, and they'll get it up into the tree. And what it does is it will kill those insects that are sucking out all the juice of the tree. So you want to put it right around, right next to the tree. You could probably pour it down the bark right down to the ground. You don't want to get, more than like 2 to 3 inches away from the tree when you're pouring this down. That's all you have to do. That's it. Actually, this will last for, they say it will last up to 3 years. I don't know if I would trust that. I do my hemlock trees every year because I did have some. I don't have them anymore. And they thought they could quarantine the hemlocks. They first were noticed here in Michigan in the, Waukezie Woods area, and then round by Lake Michigan area. They thought they could contain it right there. It has spread into Zeeland, and then it spread into Muskegon, and now it's way up north also. So we didn't do a good job at containing this. They seem to be everywhere, but you can save your hemlock trees. They're beautiful trees. We don't want to lose them. It's expensive to take down a dead tree, and a dead tree poses a lot of problems to your house and everything else. And I don't mind if you take down the tree and just leave it there for the birds and natural habitat. That's fine with me. You don't have to cut it up, or you can always use it for firewood, I guess. But you remember, don't take it anywhere it does have those insects on it, especially in. So we don't want to move it anywhere. Like, oh, I'm going on vacation, so I think I'll take this, cut up tree over for firewood. Don't do that. Don't move it. But you can keep it right where it is. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. Or get rid of it. You can do that too. But remember, we don't transport firewood anywhere in the state of Michigan just because of things like that. The emerald ash borer got all around the state of Michigan, even in the Upper Peninsula, just because we thought we could transport firewood up there when we went camping. And what we did is we transported the emerald ash borer up across the bridge. We thought the bridge was going to be the point where that was going to stop, but nope, that did not work. So don't be transporting your firewood. There's too many things out there that are coming that that are probably coming and probably going to be here soon. And the first one is the spotted lantern fly. This is an absolute beautiful insect. This is what every insect would like to be. It is kind of a brown color, tan color with black polka dots on it. And then when it opens up its wings, it has bright red and yellow and still has the polka dots. It is absolutely beautiful. And the little nymphs, the small ones, they're black with white polka dots. They're so cute. You, it's hard to kill an insect that's cute. But it is a horrible insect. What it does is, like emerald ash borer is only went after ash trees. The hemlock woolly adelgid is only going after hemlock trees. The Japanese lanternfly is going to go over all trees, and it also likes grapevines, apple trees. So it will get cherry trees. It will get all in our orchards and in the vineyards around here. We can't really afford to have it. So keep your eye out for a beautiful little, and it's maybe an inch long. And it's absolutely beautiful. If you see one, do take a picture of it. Do send it into Extension Service and say, this is what I found, and this is exactly where I found it, and at this time. And they will be out there. Believe me, they do not want this in our state. It would be devastating for our farmers and the agriculture. So if, it's people that find them and report them in is how we get to know they're here. So, and if we can have people be watching for a beautiful polka dotted and it flies, it's maybe an inch long. It's not terribly big, but we don't need to have them here. They are not welcome here in Michigan. We've got too much stuff. We've got too much stuff that they could eat, so we don't want them here. Also, the longhorn beetle is another one that is a possibility of coming. That one is, it's huge. It's probably 2 to 3 inches long, and it's longhorn beetle, and it's got these antennae on it that are twice as long as the body is. So it's a large insect, and it makes large holes in the trees, and it will devastate any hardwood tree. So we don't want them here. They have been in Ohio. I know this is one thing that the FDA gets after, so they're right on that one. So hopefully they won't get up here. They come in the packaging of different stuff, and it gets out. Usually starts in a port city, and then it kind of fans out from there. So we do have to be careful. We do have ports here in Michigan, and we do get things from out of the United States. So, we don't need to get their insects, and we don't need to bring ours over there. They can take, these things because they've got natural predators that get on them. We don't have the natural predators here right now, and we don't need to be importing more insects in just to kill the insects we've got. Once they've killed them all, then they're going to go on to our good insects. So we don't need that. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But just remember when if ever you remember back 20 years when the Japanese beetles first came to southern Michigan, they were everywhere. When they came out in the summer, they would just be so thick in the trees that it was horrible. And we didn't have any kind of natural predators for them. They aren't as bad as they used to be anymore because we've got some natural predators now that, some of the birds will actually eat the beetles. So we've got them, not developing a great taste for them, but at least they'll eat them. So we don't have them quite so bad. Um, that's always a good thing, but we can't rest assured that, there'll be something like, oh, the robins decide that these are really tasty. It doesn't work like that, but hey, we've got at least a little bit of a reprieve from the Japanese beetle invasions. Oh my goodness, they were everywhere. Oh, I just remember that. And everybody put out traps and we just have thousands of them in a trap. Oh, it was so disgusting. I don't get those anymore. I used to have a couple of trees in my backyard that they loved, but those have since been they're gone now, so I don't get them. Occasionally you'll see one, but not like what you used to see them. So that's always good. Right now, the deer are out and eating, and so are the rabbits, and they're going to eat anything that they can find right now. The green stuff is basically gone. So right now they're going to be eating the bark off your trees. They're going to be eating your arborvitaes if you have any of those. If you have anything left, any perennials left, they'll be eating those right down to the ground. Um, you know, get out there and stop them before they do a whole lot of damage. And we'll talk about that right after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we are back. We were talking about deer damage this time of year. If you've got arborvitaes, that is one of the, and deer, arborvitaes are like the number one thing. They will completely ignore them all winter. And all of a sudden, and you think, I made it through winter without any damage. All of a sudden, they will be there this time of year. And they'll just like make a hole in them. And that just never goes away. All those poor arborvitaes will have this hole eaten out of the side of them. So we need to outsmart them right now. There's a new product out on the market. It's called Everguard, and it's an organic and natural product. I think it smells like garlic and really horrible. And I like garlic, but you got this there is a granular formulation that you can put around your plants, and the deer and the rabbits won't like that. You can spray them with the Everguard, and it's one thing that you can actually spray when it's below 32 degrees. You don't have to wait until it's going to be above 32 degrees, for a couple of days like liquid fence has to be. This one you can spray when it's cold outside too. You don't have to worry about it too much. But the Everguard, it's a new product out on the market. It was discovered or originally made in the woods in Maine, and that's really done, how much deer they have there and moose, and it's really helped a lot. So if you've got those arborvitaes or those plants that the deer eat this time of year, I would get out there and I would put some Everguard around them right now. And if you've got your tulips starting to peak up a little bit like I do, I would throw some mulch over them, put them like putting a blanket over them. Don't wake up quite yet. Let's stay down there just a little bit longer. I haven't looked out at Windmill Island, but I know they've got the deer fence up right now. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just put deer fence up around all of our plants in the spring and keep them out? I always feel so sorry for those poor little deer and rabbits in the middle of winter when they look like they're starving outdoors. And yes, I'm the one that will throw some ear corn out there for them and do all this kind of stuff. Um, and then come spring, they bring their whole families over to my backyard. It just drives me nuts. I don't like any of them in the spring. Um, I should just kind of not look, I guess. I don't know. But it does make me mad that they always seem to eat my most expensive plants. That's what they usually start with. And then they don't ever eat the cheap ones. And they don't ever go for the cereal ride that's in the garden. No, no, no. They want to go for my stuff, my bushes, etc. So don't want them doing that. I've got some of the cutest little azalea plants, and no, I don't want them eating that one either. This is the time of year you can go like your rhododendrons, etc. You don't want to trim them back right now, but you can put some hollytone around them and water that in well right now. That would not be remiss. You can do that in the fall and in the spring. Really helps your rhododendrons, your azaleas, any of your spring blooming things, your holly, obviously. That will help them immensely. See what else I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about some pruning tips. Oh, if you've got, you don't want to really prune your evergreen trees until it's really starting to get spring and you actually get some growth on the ends of your pines. So late spring is when we trim those. We can trim our fruit trees right now. And remember, the whole idea in the fruit trees is to get sunlight into the middle of the plant. So we always trim off anything that's growing and hitting something else. We trim out anything that's growing straight up. We don't want that in our fruit trees. I am always shocked. I don't do it quite hard enough. When we get a professional in there to trim the trees, boy, there's like nothing left. It seems like by the time they're done. I'm not quite that thorough, but I do a good job of at least getting enough so they can get sunlight in there, and the buds that form can get some sunlight and actually form some fruit. So that's always good. All right, he's telling me that I've got to stop talking here. So I'm going to remind you that I will be back here on Tuesday mornings, and I will be back here at 8:35, 45, around in there with Dan for the garden party. We talk about just kind of what's happening, what you need to be on the lookout for. And then I come back on Tuesday mornings with Gary on Talk of the Town between, what time is it? Between 10 and 11. I can do this. I know I do this every Tuesday. So between 10 and 11, and we talk about everything. Usually Gary finds something online that he sees, and we talk about that, and as well as all gardening things. And, it's getting that time when we need to be talking about more gardening things. And then I will be back here next Saturday. Yes, I will be back here next Saturday. It's the week after that the boys' basketball is going to preempt me. Can you believe that? I can't believe it either. But on the 16th, I believe I am not here. But next week I will be here. And until then, go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from De Bruyn Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.